In today's video, we're gonna teach you how to pump like a pro.
What, you mean like this?
No, dude, on the pump track. You've probably heard the term pumping, but what is it and how do we apply it on the bike? In this video, we're gonna cover a fundamental skill that will help you become a better bike rider at any age. Whether you're trying to apply it to the pump track, the skate park, or out on the mountain bike trail, we hope that this tutorial will show you that this is a skill that applies across all styles of bike on any type of terrain. Welcome back to Joy Bike, I'm Mike, and in this video, I'm joined once again by Matt Cordova and Chase Willie, and together we're gonna teach you how to pump. To kick this video off, we're gonna cover a few common misconceptions when it comes to pumping, and the first one being, we wanna make sure we're keeping our pedals flat, and by that, I mean the crank arms are going to be parallel to the ground as we're going over rollers.
Another misconception is staying too far forward or too far back and not staying in a neutral position.
And the third misconception is thinking that all of the pumping motion is done in the arms. We're really going to focus on using our legs to generate the maximum amount of speed.
Whew. Now that we've had a little bit of time to think, we're gonna break this down into three separate parts. The first part being identifying different parts of the double that we are going to learn how to pump on. The three of us are standing on completely different spots of the double. I'm standing on the peak of what we're going to call the free speed zone. The free speed zone is an area that is already giving you energy. This is also where we're going to pump into the ground, and then we're gonna get to where Matt's standing.
This is the apex. This is the middle of the pump, and this is the transition zone of giving energy and accepting energy.
And I'm standing on what we're going to call the loading zone. So this is where we're going to start transitioning away from giving energy into the ground and start absorbing the energy to then expel on the backside once again.
To clearly identify these areas, we're gonna roll a ball from the peak of the free speed zone down to the apex and up the loading zone. And since no outside force is applied, what you're gonna notice is it's gonna gain speed down the free speed zone. As it enters the apex, it's gonna stop gaining speed. And as it rolls up the face of the loading zone, it's gonna slowly start to slow down. Now we're gonna run our bike through the same motion. What I want you to pay attention to here is the back wheel. Once it crests the peak of the jump and rolls into the free speed zone, it's going to accelerate. And then once that back wheel passes through the apex and starts going up the face of the loading zone, it's going to slow down and eventually come to a stop. Now that we've identified those three key pumping zones, those being the free speed area, the apex, and the loading zone, we're gonna get on our bike in a neutral position and we're gonna stay as loose as we can. We're not gonna apply any force. And what I really want you to pay attention to here is the areas that are giving us energy and the areas that are taking energy from us. So let's roll in. Now that we've gotten on the bike and felt that free speed zone, felt the apex or that transition zone, and felt the loading zone where our speed is being scrubbed, we're gonna move on to part two where we're going to start applying force to create pump. The first zone we're going to work on applying pump to is going to be the free speed zone. And the reason for that is because this is the easiest area to gain speed. To apply pump here, what we're effectively going to do is extend our arms and legs downward, effectively pushing our bike into the ground to create pump. Before we start doing this, I want to reiterate that this is an area we really want to make sure we're focusing on keeping our crank arms parallel to the ground, and we're not gonna start applying any of that downward force until we're over the peak of the roller. So let's start applying some force in that free speed zone. As my back wheel crests the peak of the roller, I begin to transfer my weight over the rear axle as I begin to apply energy into the ground through pushing my bike down. Here at the apex of the pump, you can see my legs and arms at near full extension as I enter the loading zone.
So now that we've put force into the ground in the free speed zone, we're going to use that same force to start to transition into what we're calling the loading zone. So the loading zone, like we mentioned earlier, is kind of the area of the double where you're going to start to lose speed and really lose energy unless you work with it to compress your body, pull your arms and legs towards you to get light on the bike as you're going uphill, and then that will set you up nicely, kind of like a spring, to as soon as you crest this next hill, you're ready to put all of that energy back into the ground on the backside on the free speed zone once again. All right, so now let's take a look at what that's gonna look like on the bike. Now notice when I go into this, I'm gonna exaggerate this a lot, but I'm gonna get really heavy on the backside, that free speed zone of the jump. As I transition through that apex into the loading zone, I'm gonna do everything I can to get light on the bike, pull my arms, compress my arms and legs up to me, and then expel it all again on the backside.
As he enters the loading zone, pay close attention to how he starts to bring the bike toward him to absorb energy as he compresses like a spring, ready to apply the energy into the next free speed zone. Now that we've identified where to give and accept energy through pump, we're gonna really want to focus on making this one swift and fluid motion.
To do this, we're gonna practice this on a straightaway of rollers and really just focus on trying to make this as smooth and consistent as possible.
As Matt pumps through these rollers, focusing on smooth, consistent motions, note how his head stays nearly in the same position while he uses his arms and legs to apply and absorb energy.
We chose to teach this fundamental skill here at the pump track because the smooth rollers make it really consistent and predictable, and really the perfect place to start learning and applying this skill. But that doesn't mean it's the only place that you can learn this. In fact, if you come from a mountain bike background,
you can easily apply this skill while you're on the trail. So while you're out on the trail, keep your eyes peeled for free speed zones where you can apply pump and loading zones where you can absorb energy. So I've gone ahead and identified a section of trail where we can really apply this skill and demonstrate it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna roll down the trail in a neutral position, and I'm not gonna apply any energy into the ground in those free speed zones, nor am I gonna absorb any energy on those loading zones. And then in the second clip, what I'm going to demonstrate is really applying energy into the free speed zones and absorbing energy in the loading zones. And you're going to see how much quicker I'm able to navigate this trail without pedaling at all. And now we're going to apply pump, and I'm going to show you how much energy you can put into this trail and how much speed you can build by simply just using that pumping skill. That second one was a lot more fun, and as you could tell, a lot more fast as well. And there's a good reason for that. I wasn't pedaling or doing anything other than applying energy into the ground in those free speed zones and absorbing energy in those loading zones. And what that did was made the trail feel so much more lively, so much more fun, and a whole lot faster. So while you're out on the trail, keep an eye out to identify these zones and apply this skill while you're cruising around. But another one of my favorite places to apply this skill is
the skate park. For this first clip, I'm going to stay in a neutral position, stay very loose, and not absorb or apply energy. Now I'm going to apply the pump, and notice how much speed I start to gain as I do.
As you can see in that last clip, Matt applied a ton of energy into those free speed zones, and he also absorbed a ton of energy in those loading zones, which helped him jump that box, air that quarter pipe out, which essentially means pumping is a fundamental piece of jumping. So if you want to learn more about jumping, we'd love to cover that topic as well. So if that's something you'd like to learn more about, let us know down in the comments below. We really enjoyed making this video, and if you enjoyed watching it, we'd really appreciate it if you cruise down and hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go down, click the subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you don't miss videos in the future. That's all for now. Thank you guys so much for riding with us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
oh my goodness, you're still here. Click right here if you want to see a cool video between Mike and Matt, really showing the power of the pump in a fun little game. And click right here if you want to see how to bunny hop. Love you guys, see you next time.